hardships. Want to hear more about how Tom can help? Then call 877-456-4155 and receive a free copy of Tom's ebook, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Tom's ebook covers many questions people have about bankruptcy and includes interesting stories about people who tried to avoid filing and people who have filed for bankruptcy. We think you'll be surprised to learn some interesting facts about bankruptcy. Call 877-456-4155.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together we will get through this.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday. Mostly cloudy with a few scattered thunderstorms. Daytime high near 83. Less humid through the overnight with temperatures down into the upper 60s under mostly cloudy skies. You'll see the chance for a shower around for your Saturday. Temperatures in the low 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
News, information, conversation, controversy, and fun. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Indeed it is, and indeed we will have news, information, conversation, controversy, and hopefully some fun along the way. What are we talking about today? Well, first of all, high school football is back in the Ohio Valley, giving us at least a sense of normalcy. It's not quite normal high school football because you won't see many people in the stands, but you can tune in tonight and listen on the radio or pay just know that it's out there. Know that it's there. The Friday night lights are on. Major league players in multiple sports continuing their protests over racial injustice. President Trump accepts the GOP nomination from the White House as he faces criticism for using the White House as an official venue for campaigning. Controversy continues over the decision in West Virginia to deny state loan guarantees to that proposed gas power plant in Brooke County. Delegate Randy Schwartzmiller will be in to offer his take on that for us. Newspaper editor John McCabe and I will hold our regular Friday roundtable on the news of the week. Stand by if you've got kids. Well, maybe not even kids, but I'm going to give you a bit later on one of the hot new Christmas gifts. I know it's not even end of August yet, close to the end of August, but it's not even September yet. But I've got the hot new Christmas gift that is out there, and it's probably going to be in short supply come Christmas time, so you might want to think about pre-ordering now. I'll give that information to you coming up a little bit later on. The weather is going to be kind of verstunk today, overcast, cloudy, warm, muggy. You might see a morning shower or sprinkle, an afternoon storm is possible. High of 82 degrees tomorrow. Probably some of the leftovers from the hurricane will come our way, so you're going to look for a pretty rain-soaked day tomorrow. But Sunday and Monday are looking pretty good. Currently, 73 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, and 73 degrees here at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Biffy, I'm finding myself more and more doing Zoom meetings. Our planning commission meetings have been Zoomed. Our city subcommittee meetings are Zoomed. Many of my church meetings have been Zoomed. Of course, I have some business meetings elsewhere that we're Zooming. Everybody's using Zoom. And it's a wonderful tool. Like it a lot. Use it to get the video out of my home studio into the studio up at the Robinson Auto Group studio. So Zoom's a wonderful thing. But boy, you gotta be careful for a couple of reasons. There are intentional attacks on Zoom out there. There was a kindergarten class this week, Biff, that was doing a Zoom. I think they were previewing how they were going to work for remote learning. And so the kindergarten kids were there. And this wasn't local, but the kindergarten kids were there. And then hackers got into it and started putting up porn for kindergarten kids.
Yeah, that's not good.
Mommy, there's something on my screen here. What is that? Oh my God, get that off. So you got to watch out for that kind of stuff. I have been lucky enough not to see any of that anywhere. By the way, Biff.
Yes.
In the event that we get porn hackers on my feed, cut it off. Oh, I don't know. Actually, it might bring more viewers. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. So there is that sort of intentional hacking that's being done. And then here's the story I wanted to get to, Biffy. For God's sake, folks, you've got to be careful if you're using Zoom. I try my best, for example, the Zoom camera is on here in my studio, waving to you, if you're on Facebook Live or if you're on YouTube. You got to be careful. You know, everything in the background is visible. And we've had some stories before about the guy, the woman who was, I think it was a woman who was on Facebook, or was on Zoom doing a meeting with her bosses, and her hubby was on the toilet behind her, forgot to close the door. Oh, God. Well, here's even worse. A government official joined a Zoom meeting with his camera on, and apparently the sound, and then had sex with his secretary on the desk. Now, it was not intentional. It's not like he wanted to make a porn movie. Well, I don't know, maybe he did, but that wasn't the point. He just kind of forgot that he was on Zoom. So he's in this big government meeting, and they're all talking. Now we need to discuss the need for prioritizing our priorities and having a dialogue on the important issues of the... George? What are you and Sandy doing back there? So it's just a reminder. It's a reminder, my friends. Zoom is this wonderful thing. It's this great thing. But for heaven's sakes, it also is a dangerous thing. Again, some of it you can't control. Some of it's going to happen no matter what. If somebody, breaks in or whatever. But make sure that the bathroom door is closed. Make sure your pants are zipped. Whatever else. And for God's sake, unless you're applying for a porn video job, please don't have sex with your secretary in front of the Zoom camera. By the way, he was fired.
And it's sad that we have to tell
not...
people this.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's easy to forget, though, Biffy. It really is. I mean, the Zoom camera is on here in the house every day. And I'm talking to it when I'm doing the show. But during breaks, I get up, I walk away, I go out and talk to my wife, make a cup of coffee. I too go to the bathroom. I really try very hard to close the doors and all of those kinds of things. But it's just sometimes you forget. until when you're playing the video back or you're playing the YouTube back on our YouTube channel, and I'm watching myself and I'm going, oh, I see. I went, what is that sound in the background as I walked away? Psst. Oh my God, I was peeing. Oh my God. You forget. So you're right, Biff. It's a shame we have to say that, but for heaven's sakes, if you're on Zoom or any other form of, visual communication, for God's sake, make sure everything you're doing, you want everybody else to see. And in my Forrest Gump words, that's all I'm going to say about that. I am going to say something about a project in Brooke County that really has me irritated. The proposal had been for a gas-fired power plant in Brooke County. It was predicted to bring in millions of dollars of economic impact to the upper Ohio Valley, and also to create 1,000+ jobs for construction workers and some long-term jobs as well. It's a gas-fired power plant. Very exciting when it was announced and people were talking about it. And this is something new industry coming to the Ohio Valley. And at least at the moment, it looks like this project is dead. Now, Governor Justice this week said, why? Now, I don't know why you people say it's dead. It's not really dead. That's just something you in the media are saying. But it is dead. The power plant people have said, listen, we can't do this without a loan guarantee, and we're not getting a loan guarantee. I'm angry about it. A lot of people are. And I want to talk about it with Northern Panhandle Delegate Randy Schwartzmiller. Randy, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Howard. How are you, sir?
Good. Does this irritate you as much as it does me?
Oh, believe me. I've fought for jobs and businesses for years, and a lot of times we're out recruiting, trying to bring people here, and here we have a business that is anxious to come to West Virginia, to Northern Panhandle, Brooke County, and we have a governor sitting down there that's saying, we're still looking at it. It's totally over the top.
Nobody has officially said, but the assumption, Randy, I believe, is that this is an example of the governor being a coal operator and too many folks in that in the administration maybe being in the hands of the coal companies, not wanting any competition with coal. We saw it, Randy. We saw the same thing in Marshall County a couple of years ago when there was, again, another gas-fired power plant being talked about. Looked like it was going to come to fruition. Bob Murray and others raised a ruckus about it as well. It is staggering to me that in West Virginia we have to fight to bring jobs in when we're usually fighting as hard as we possibly can to get them here.
Well, that's exactly right. And, when we have a governor who made the statement the other day when he was asked about the power plant that he pretty much summarized it as, we're still taking a look at it, and it's only 20 jobs. I was so frustrated to hear, anybody, but let alone the governor, say only 20 jobs. I mean, I think we all know what a good-paying job can do for a person, for a family, over a lifetime for the community. And quite frankly, the numbers actually, it could be 20 to 130. So he conveniently took the low side. But, we have to fight for every job that we can get in West Virginia. And, we have to have a governor also that understands that every job's important. And he just looks at it from what jobs are going to benefit his industry. And that's a real problem.
I think that's the case. And the 20 jobs he was talking about, which I think is low, but you're right, there's a range being predicted there. Those are the permanent jobs that'll be there in the plant once it's over and done with. Over 1,000, I think, construction jobs would be involved in this. And, we're always looking to make sure our construction industry is kept alive and thriving. So it's not just those permanent jobs that will be at the plant. It's also the construction jobs that will be part of building the plant.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Howard, years ago, when I was laid off from the mill, Weird and Steel, I worked construction, and I was out on the road. And so I know exactly what it's like when you're sleeping in a hotel room and grabbing fast food or whatever, and you're not home with your family, you're not getting to see your kids. participate in school activities, ball games, and what have you. So, this 1,000 jobs from folks that live right here in the Northern Panhandle that wouldn't have to go out on the road, that could stay here, be at home with their families for 2 to 3 years while this is being built, and the governor's balking at this. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
And I may be wrong about this. You're closer to this than I am, but I understand the company that was going to do this basically had guaranteed they would keep as many jobs they could local. They're not going to import out-of-state workers. They're going to provide jobs for local people here in the Upper Ohio Valley.
That's exactly right. And we always look at those type of things when businesses are coming here. We want to see people, from West Virginia employed. But, we live up here in the Northern Panhandle, so we understand the nature of how it works. We have a lot of folks from West Virginia that cross over into Ohio and work at different businesses there, as well as Pennsylvania. And we have people from Ohio and Pennsylvania that come here and work at jobs in West Virginia. It's kind of just the nature of where we live. But those dollars are all being circulated up here in the Northern Panhandle. We support each other, and that's what we've always done. You got the governor sitting down there, he just looks at things through his glasses, which is the Greenbrier or one of these coal companies or whatever it may be. So, he doesn't understand how things up here in the Northern Panhandle work, quite frankly, because he's never up here to know.
It's also interesting to me that the billionaire governor who doesn't pay his own bills, I want to throw that out there, says, I got a quote here, why in the world, if this was a real valid project, would they even need a state loan guarantee? Well, that's the way business is done anymore. They're not asking for a state grant or a state money. They're asking for simply a loan guarantee in order to get a loan from someone else. And for the governor to imply that because if this was a good deal, they wouldn't need. I guess. I'm on a soapbox. I'm sorry, Randy. I guess in the governor's mind, he doesn't need loan guarantees because he doesn't pay his bills anyway. So,
well,
I'm sorry I had to take that shot there.
Well, Howard, I would just say this. I think the real question is, if the governor's been as involved with this as he claims to be, why does he have to ask that question? It should have already been asked, and he should have had an answer to it.
The construction jobs, the long-term jobs are important. And there was a significant amount of economic spin-off that was predicted to come from the construction and from the completion of the plant. I mean, millions of dollars would have been economically infused into the Upper Ohio Valley. I believe I'm right about that.
Well, you'd be looking at around $100 million in payroll taxes for the folks building this plant. The downstream impact would be $400 million annually. The Brooke County Commission would see $433 annually. This is after it's built. And the Brooke County school system would see around $167,000 annually. And, with today's climate the way it is, everybody could use extra dollars. And, that's not to mention the jobs that we are talking about that would be permanent afterwards. And, when you have, there's tiers out there for like different level jobs, and, these higher level paying jobs like this would be with benefits, it shows the downstream effect of how many jobs it would create. So you could be looking at another 4 to 5 jobs for every one of these type of jobs. So there's a big downstream impact. Anytime you can get a business like this of this magnitude to come into your community, it's a win-win for everybody. Unfortunately, we just have a governor that doesn't understand hard times and what it is to have a good paying job, because he's always had a silver spoon in his mouth. He doesn't understand that, and he alone is stopping this project.
Well, let's focus on those two words, he alone. This is a governor who has chosen to go it alone on almost everything. This is only one example of it, and he alone makes this decision, I think, and he alone has made the decision on spending the federal CARES money. He alone has made the decisions on when to go back to school. I mean, he alone is a phrase that he likes to use because he really makes all decisions. I guess it's his state and he's going to run it his way.
Well, it's right. He's definitely become a dictator, and I'll segue in on the CARES money that you mentioned. I mean, basically, what is being asked here is for a $5.6 million backing of this project, $5.6 million backing that he seems to thinks is a big deal and questions the project. But yet the other day, he handed out $6 million for hotspots, Wi-Fi hotspots, and to a company that didn't even put a bid in. And we already have a company in West Virginia that takes care of these type of things and does a great job. They didn't even get an opportunity to bid in that, and they're already structured in West Virginia. And then, ironically, find out that the company that's going to install this equipment, CityNet, is Mitch Carmichael, the Senate president, is employed by him. So this is exactly why the Senate leadership and the governor doesn't want to call us back in to a special session to review these CARES dollars to see how they're being spent and to vet them, because they're just down there doing their own thing and they're totally out of control.
I thought it was interesting this week in conjunction with that the governor said that when the question continues to be raised, why don't you at least consult with legislators about this? If you don't call them to session, at least consult with them. And he basically said, well, I've got an advisory committee, and I talk to them. And when reporters said, well, who's on this committee? He goes, well, all those guys. I mean, he doesn't name any names. And, well, when do you meet? Well, we just meet from time to time. No meetings, no discussion of when we did meet or when they might meet. I mean, the truth of the matter is, and I think we saw this a few months ago, he made a big announcement and said, I've talked to legislative leaders about this. And what he meant was he'd had lunch with them right before the announcement. Primarily the majority leader in the House and the Senate, majority leaders in the House and the Senate. And he still just wants you, Randy, and other folks in the legislature to use the suggestion box, I guess, just send those suggestions into his suggestion box. That's what he wants.
Well, I don't think there is a suggestion box. That's just for the media purposes when he talks about that. He has been down there just giving us money out. He doesn't reply to letters, suggestions for the money. You're right. The only ones advising him are the private law firm that he's hired, which was his law firm in his defense cases against not paying the taxes in the state. That's where he's getting his advice from, instead of the legislature, who, by the way, all of us were elected by the people to be their voice and to represent them in Charleston. He refuses to have any type of organized correspondence for us to have any input in this. And it just goes to show the continuation of his dictatorship.
It is staggering to me, for example, Senator Ehlenfeld had told us a few weeks ago on this show that he, as a state senator, has had to file Freedom of Information requests to get information about how this money's being spent and other things. I mean, a state senator having to file a FOIA act? That's outrageous. It's outrageous that there's no communication better than that.
They don't reply back to letters. They don't return phone calls. They won't reply to emails. I know the times I've reached out, and I know Senator Ehlenfeld has experienced the same thing. At least to us, they're not. And I've talked to a lot of my colleagues that are equally frustrated. It's just totally out of control. I mean, we don't have a governor or people in leadership positions down there that are representing people. They're representing themselves and basically the people that's going to be with them in their campaigns. And a lot of that's what's going on right now with the governor and this project. He doesn't want to upset people who's going to be behind him in his campaign for re-election. And I'm calling foul here. It's just, this isn't how it should operate. People should always be before politics. That's how I look at it, and that's how anybody that represents the people of this state should be looking at it.
You know, in a traditional environment, the final fail-safe might be if the governor were not to talk to the legislators and not to share with them. Final fail-safe might be some hard-hitting questions from reporters. And we have reporters who would like to ask the hard-hitting questions, but the governor has built a wall around himself from reporters anymore. He literally controls their microphones when the time comes to ask him questions. So the reporters, try as they might to get information, can't get it either because they turn the reporters' microphones off when the governor is ready to speak. It's frightening to me.
Well, and that's a great point. That was brought up the other day by one of the reporters, because the reporters, they still have to basically teleconference in to the press conferences because they still don't allow any press to come in to the press room. So they get picked randomly to ask a question. They get to ask her questions, and then their mic's turned off. They can't ask a follow-up question or anything else. And the governor likes it that way because he can control them. He can take the question and, he can pass it off to somebody else or try to answer it. But, if they have a follow-up to it, they don't get their mic turned back on. So, the governor's, opening up a lot of things. And, you can agree or disagree with that. We don't need to get in that today. But the thing about it is, if he feels so confident about opening up a lot of things, why doesn't he feel confident about opening up to let the press start coming back into the press conferences where it can be a real press conference and not, the Jim Justice Variety Hour?
If anybody, I love that, the Jim Justice Variety Hour, I like that. If anybody believes that it's not political, look at just what you said, Randy. The governor says it's too dangerous. I guess dangerous is the right word to use. Well, we can't have the reporters in the same room because of the virus and so on. So we can continue these distancing press conferences. At the same time, he's sending kids back into the classroom to sit side by side. I mean, there's no consistency to that.
It's how he thinks. He's going to take care of himself. Protect himself because there's still fear out there and the ability to still contract this virus, but it's okay for everybody else to put them in an atmosphere. The governor ought to try something new and try to lead by example.
Well, that's that. He leads by daily press conferences, which he gets, and that's exactly what that's what he likes. He likes his daily fix in front of the cameras, and I laugh every day. I get an alert from the governor's office. The governor will hold a press briefing tomorrow about COVID, and I'm thinking it isn't about COVID anymore. I mean, occasionally it is, but it's really just for the governor to pontificate about whatever is on his mind today, to berate reporters, to berate his opponent politically, and every once in a while he'll throw in a little nugget of news and information. But it's every day it's there. Every day it's there, right in front of us. We can watch it if we want to. I've given up watching most of the time, but every once in a while I do. Randy, let me ask you back to the Brooke County gas-fired power plant for a second. The governor says it's not dead, and I don't know what the official statement from the company has been, but apparently they can't exist without the loan guarantee from the state. They can't make it work financially without the loan guarantee from the state. What, if anything, can be done? What can legislators do, if anything? What can or should citizens do, if anything? Or do we have to just shrug our shoulders and go another Jim Justice fiasco here?
Well, I would encourage folks that are interested in this to, call the governor's office, 304-558-2000, and express, their feelings about the project. I also would say that, the governor says that it's not dead, but and I guess to some degree I have to agree with that, but I would say this, it's certainly on life support, and time is of the essence because the way these type of plants work, I mean, there's a list, and, they spend so much time, at a location that they've chosen, trying to work out the details and logistics, And when they get close to that time, which we're very close to, unless they can see some things happening that could move the project forward, they move on to basically the next state. And that's what could happen here. It could end up in another state someplace, because at the end of the day, the power that's generated out, it goes to the Pennsylvania-Jersey grid, and it's distributed from there. So I would say that, we don't have a lot of time for this, but if people want to try to help, I would say, write to the governor's office, call the governor's office, and let them know, hey, we support this project. It's jobs. It'll help our economy, and it's something that we desperately need in the Northern Panhandle.
Randy, how's the campaign coming?
Howard, thank you for asking. I think it's going very well. We're getting a lot of people that are coming to us and wanting to help. They've been upset with the direction that the state's been going the last 4 years, and the divide that we've seen. People feel that they haven't been. They personally have been represented. That the big out-of-state corporations seem to be getting all the attention from folks. So people seem to be frustrated, but they seem to be encouraged with my candidacy and coming on board. And so I'm very humbled by all that. And I've always made it a point to keep people first, West Virginians first, and so I think it's going well. But we've got a ways to go and a lot of work to do. And I've been trying to get around throughout the whole district and be it the events that are out there, which are very few and they're scaled down, of course. But we're just going to keep working hard, and hopefully the voters will stay with us on when they vote.
All right, Randy, I appreciate your time this morning. I'm sure we'll talk again as time goes by, but thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me on, Howard. It was great. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. Randy Schwartzmiller is a delegate from the Northern Panhandle and also is running for the state Senate here in the 1st Senatorial District. The other senator, the not open seat right now is Bill Ehlenfeld's seat. Bill put a really well thought out piece on his Facebook page, which I may share with you a little bit later on if I have a chance, some of his thoughts about this Brooke County power plant story as well. It's just amazing. We beg, we want, we complain, we ask, we hope, we pray, we want new jobs, we want construction jobs, we want new jobs, we want economic impact. And then when a plant comes in that's going to generate millions and millions of dollars of economic impact and is going to provide thousands of construction jobs and some permanent jobs as well, state won't guarantee their loan. Because it's not coal, after all. We need coal. Hey, I never argue against coal. I'm not saying how much money have we put? How much money has the legislature and the governor put into various coal companies over the last few years in terms of subsidies and so on? The Pleasants Point power plant, some other things. We shovel money to them. But we won't even put a loan guarantee. It's not money that they're asking for a loan guarantee. And it's $5 million, and I know it's only $5 million. I think I'm right about that. Crazy. All right, we'll talk more about this as time goes by. 8:40, 20 till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. President accepted his nomination last night at the White House, and that is becoming a point of controversy. Do you care that he used the White House, an official venue of the government, for the most political thing you can do, accepting the nomination of your party? A lot of folks are raising questions about that. We'll chat about that and take a listen to some of the things that were said at the convention last night coming up in a bit. Plus, John McCabe and I in our Friday Roundtable in the next hour of the show. I'm Howard Monroe. This is the Watchdog Morning Show. Glad you're along.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's
Biffy, I'll try and use some of these cuts from Pulse on the nomination. Just play along. If we play the right one, we play the right one. If not, no big deal, because I'm not sure what I'm going to go for. So we use cut 1, which is the acceptance. After that, I'll just play around. Follow the best you can. If you can't follow, it's no big deal. We'll play something, and I'm sure it'll sound fine. Okay. Let me see. I would like probably to use the cut from Ivanka, Trump, and maybe Rudy Giuliani too. So I use his acceptance comments, which is the first one. Let's use cut number 1, which is accepting the nomination. Then, if you can find it, I say very modestly, I've done more for the African American community than any president since Abe Lincoln. And the one after that, if the left gains power, they'll demolish the suburbs. And then, if we have time, Ivanka and Rudy. If we have time. And again, if you can't follow along with me, it's no big deal. The store itself, yeah. Okay. Right, I got you. I have not talked to McCabe this week, so I'm assuming he's going to be on. I have not. Here's what I'm looking for. There it is.
Traffic near the Ohio Valley. Will continue to be closed intermittently. McCulloch Street under I-70 will continue to have single-lane closures. The closure of the on-ramp from US 250 north to I-70 westbound will continue. The Market Street overpass width reduction will continue. The single-lane closures on Route 2 under I-70 will continue. I-70 construction will continue westbound where crossovers are in effect. And All existing detours and closures will continue for the I-70 Bridges project. Follow Ohio Valley Traffic Report on Facebook, WTRF 7 News, and the Watchdog for updates.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchants.
The end of summer event is on at your Toyota dealer, meaning right now is the best time to save big on the car, truck, or SUV you've been dreaming of, like an off-road ready 4Runner or a rugged Tacoma, both available with $1,000 cash back. Or go in an adventurous RAV4, the best-selling SUV in America, and get $1,500 cash back. Take $1,500 back on a stylish Corolla, or $2,000 back on a sporty new Camry. Or get $2,500 cash back on the rugged half-ton Tundra. You can even drive away in a spacious Highlander with enough room for the whole family right now with $1,000 cash back, plus $500 bonus cash from Toyota. Shop for more great savings at Toyota's official website for deals. Buyatoyota.com. You can take cash back or apply toward down payment. Bonus cash must be applied toward down payment. Some offers may exclude TRD Pro models. See your dealer for details. The end of summer event is on at Toyota. So go see your dealer today. Offers end August 31st. Toyota.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday. Mostly cloudy with a few scattered thunderstorms. Daytime high near 83. Less humid through the overnight with temperatures down into the upper 60s under mostly cloudy skies. You'll see the chance for a shower around for your Saturday. Temperatures in the low 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The perfect cure for your quarantine blues. The Watchdog on Facebook Live. Watch The Watchdog weekdays on Facebook Live, beginning with the morning show with Howard Monroe at 7 a.m. Local talk radio, Watchdog style. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-8255.
He rambles, he rants, and sometimes he sings. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
73 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 73 degrees at the home studios here in Elm Grove, 73 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley, 10 till the top of the hour on our Friday edition of the show. Governor Justice tweeted out yesterday this following tweet from Governor Justice. I hope all of you watched the GOP convention tonight to hear President Donald Trump's speech. We need to re-elect President Trump, and I'm proud to be the honorary state chair of Team Trump in West Virginia. And what of my friends posted, he's going to be the state chair. One of my friends posted, can you imagine the pain that chair would have to be in? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, the good news is we all know that he brings his own chair, at least to the ball games when he coaches, so little roll-around chair, so he'll probably, as the state chair for Team Trump, I guess he'll have his own official chair. It was the Republican convention last night. Donald Trump accepted the official nomination, final night of the convention. He delivered a speech from the south lawn of the White House, blasting Joe Biden, talking about how horrible the country is, and that's always fascinating to me because he's the one that is in charge of the country right now, and how bad it is going to be. He officially, however, the key thing is, he said, "I am happy to be your nominee."
My fellow Americans, tonight, with a heart full of gratitude and boundless optimism, I profoundly accept this nomination for President of the United States.
Now, not surprisingly, Trump claimed that Joe Biden is a weak career politician who will be a tool of the radical left and has not done anything in nearly 50 years of politics. He gave dire warnings of what electing Biden to the Democrats would bring, declaring, among other things, and this is just amazing to me, among other things, he said he said this before, that Biden and the Democrats want to destroy the suburbs. Here's that quote about how we on the left are out to destroy the suburbs.
If the left gains power, they will demolish the suburbs, confiscate your guns, and appoint justices who will wipe away your Second Amendment and other constitutional freedoms. Biden is a Trojan horse for socialism.
Now, I get much of that. I understand how he and other conservatives feel that those of us on the left are out to get rid of the Second Amendment. We're not, but I understand that. I get that. What I don't understand is this whole demolish the suburbs. We're out to demolish the suburbs? What does that mean even? He spent a significant amount of time talking about what he'd accomplished during his 4 years in office, praised himself for the fine work he did with the pandemic, except just a survey released today, an international survey, says that the United States is tied for the worst in the world for dealing with the coronavirus. The worst in the world for dealing with the coronavirus. But he says he did a good job. And, of course, he's repeated this before. In the midst of the racial tensions that we have in this country today, following the George Floyd killing, more recently the Jacob Lance killing, and so on, the president still, and all of the NBA, the MLB, the NHL, and others that are protesting racial injustice, despite the fact that this is a very real concern in America, the president continues to claim that he's the guy who's helping black Americans.
I say very modestly that I have done more for the African American community than any president since Abraham Lincoln, our first Republican president. And I have done more in 3 years for the black community than Joe Biden has done in 47 years.
Now, I wanted to say, how can he even say those things with a straight face? But the truth of the matter is that he's mentally unbalanced. So maybe he believes it, maybe he doesn't care. Truth is something that is totally foreign to Donald Trump, so I guess he could say it. But how could anybody around him not just laugh at that kind of comment? Not just laugh at that kind of comment. I believe he's done damage to the African American community, but you don't have to go that far. You don't have to go that far. I have done more for the African American community than Abraham Lincoln, or since Abraham Lincoln? Seriously? Seriously? As it had been for much of the night before, there were some family matters going on. Ivanka Trump was among those speaking last night at the convention.
I stand before you as the proud daughter of the people's president. He is our commander-in-chief, champion of the American worker, defender of common sense, and our voice for the forgotten men and women of this country.
Biffy, I don't know, you probably didn't watch much of the convention. I didn't either, I'll be real honest with you. What I did watch and what I read, though, in all of these speeches from all of the Trump kids, as near as I have been able to figure out, none of them ever talked a word about their father as a father. There was no stories about he came to my Little League games, or there was no story about how he he taught me to be a good man, or there was no story about the time we went fishing. There was no connection between his children and Donald Trump in any kind of fatherly way. Now, I guess it doesn't surprise me. I think I said on the air, and if not, I know I said to somebody yesterday, he probably made them call him Mr. Trump, you know. Daddy, Mr. Trump, please. I don't know that to be true. I'm just making that up. But that really jumped out at me. Nobody, none of the kids said anything about him as a father. Heck, I mean, they could have even said he's a bad father. I just say anything. just talk to him, talk to the country about Donald Trump, not as the president, commander in chief, a businessman, as a father. I mean, that's what kids should be. That's part of what children should be discussing when they discuss their father, are those memories of childhood. Perhaps their memories are not so good. That's a very distinct possibility, too. All right. And then the big question raised last night by a number of people is the president used the White House for the convention speech. I think it was his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, who said, outside the Beltway, nobody cares. That may be true. I don't know the general public really cares that it was the White House or not. But I care. That is an official entity of the government, and you're not supposed to be using it for political reasons. I remember Bob Ney telling me years ago how if he had to make a phone call that was a campaign phone call, he'd have to leave the Capitol, go across the street, find a phone booth or a place that had another phone, because he couldn't make campaign calls from the Capitol. Now you get the president literally accepting a political nomination from the White House. Crazy. Hey, it's 9 o'clock. ABC is here right now.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Brian Clark from the South Lawn at the White House.
All right. Hey, Biff, I just got a note from John. He won't be able to get in until about 9:15 or 9:20. So we'll do some other stuff first before we get him on. It'll make it work. I'm going to get some more coffee or maybe more Dr. Pepper. I think it's another Dr. Pepper moment. I'll be back in a minute.